Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are whipping up a really lovely, rich lavender shower cleansing cream. This formulation was inspired by a question I get fairly frequently on shower gel formulations I've shared in the past. And that question is more or less, how can I add a bunch of oils or butters to this shower gel to make it more moisturizing or more gentle? If you want to make a body wash that contains quite a lot of oil, it's not as simple as just taking some of the water out of something like the Satsuma shower gel I shared last year and then replacing it with oil. Because, well, the surfactants in that body wash, they do a great job of cleaning us, obviously, and they'll solubilize the fragrance or the essential oil that we are using. They're not going to emulsify like a large amount of oil, so you kind of end up with just the oil sitting on top of the rest of the product. So your first formulation consideration when making a oil-rich body wash, body cleanser sort of thing is that, we need the oil to emulsify. And so when you take a look at this formulation, you'll see that it has a lot in common with lotion formulations because, well, lotion formulations are really structured to incorporate a pretty good amount of oil into a large amount of water. Another formulation consideration to keep in mind is that oil inhibits lather. So if you put a bunch of oil into a thing that you want to lather, you're either going to have to sort of lower your expectations about how much big fluffy bubbles you're going to get out of that formulation, and or you need to compensate for that by including more surfactant or make sure that the surfactants that you're choosing are extra sort of high foaming, nice bubbly ones. So in this formulation, we're doing a bit of both. For the primary surfactant, I've chosen sodium cocoa sulfate because it kicks off just oodles of gorgeous bubbles. And this formulation also has a relatively high active surfactant matter. So the active surfactant matter for this formulation is actually higher than that of the Satsuma shower gel I shared last year, but you will get less lather from it. It still lathers really nicely and feels like it kind of gives you the sensation that it, oh, this is working, but you're just really not going to get like the crazy amount of lather that you would get from something that didn't contain oils because, yeah, that's the oil inhibits the lather. Making this rich lavender shower cleansing cream is really just like making a lotion. There's so much oil in here that we can, use the immersion blender on the mixture with the surfactants in it, and it doesn't just go absolutely bonkers on us. As always, please make sure you are reading the blog post. I've done a interesting breakdown of a commercially available shea butter body wash that I think you might find interesting. And of course, there's always the full written out formulation in both percentages and grams, all the instructions written out, links to places to buy all the ingredients, information on substitutions, scaling, shelf life, just lots more information. So yeah, please read the blog post. It is linked in the description box below, or go to humblebeeandme.com and search for the name of this formulation. I'd also like to invite you to join the Humblebee and Me community on Patreon. Patron benefits include awesome things like getting access to this video 24 hours early, an exclusive monthly patron Q&A, advance notice of new ingredients so you can have them on hand when I share formulations using something new and exciting, and a whole lot more. So I'll link to that in the description box below, but I would absolutely love it if you joined me and the rest of my wonderful patrons over there. But yeah, come on, let's get started. We're going to begin by combining the ingredients from our heated water phase in a beaker. And I'm going to do this in a bit of a strange order because I want this one, the sodium cocoa sulfate, 10 grams of it, to be at the bottom of the beaker. I just find that it incorporates a bit better that way. So before we do that, I am going to pop on my dust mask because inhaling solid surfactants is really unpleasant. But we're going to combine this 10 grams of sodium cocoa sulfate and 37.59 grams distilled water in here. It'll be 1 and then 2, and then I'll be able to take my dust mask off because the water will have wetted out the surfactant and it won't be floating around. And then we need 20 grams vegetable glycerin, 10 grams Cocamidopropyl Betaine, 0.3 grams citric acid, and 0.01 grams acid black dye. It's called acid black, but if you just use a relatively small amount of it, you get more of a lavendery, light purpley color, which is what we want. It looks really inky here. You should be able to see that it kind of has slight purpley notes when it sort of swishes up the side of the beaker, and then when it's blended in with the oil phase, we'll get more of a sort of softer, powdery, cool purple color. Our heated oil phase is fairly simple. We'll need 3 grams of glyceryl stearate and PEG 100 stearate, 15 grams fractionated coconut oil or other inexpensive lightweight liquid oil. This is definitely not the place to whip out argan oil. It'll really just go to waste in a product like this. 3 grams cetearyl alcohol, and 0.4 grams Sepimax ZEN, and for more information and substitutions, please read the blog post linked below. Up next, we are going to weigh the water phase and note that weight, making sure to note that it also includes the spatula. This will allow us to replace any water lost to evaporation during heating. To heat everything through, we're going to use a water bath. So this is a wide flat bottom saute pan that has about 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water in the bottom of it. And I'm going to just pop both beakers in here, and then we're gonna go put this on the stovetop over medium heat for about half an hour to melt everything through and bring both phases to the same temperature. And then remember, in this one, the Sepimax ZEN is not going to melt, so you will see little white clumps, like the white dust will still be in there. That is totally okay. And with the water phase, sodium cocoa sulfate might not completely dissolve. That's also okay. All right, once everything has heated through, we're going to remove the water phase here from the water bath. Dry that off, pop that back on the scale, and then use a bit of preheated distilled water to get that back up to that number we wrote down earlier. Give that a gentle stir and add it to the oil phase. So up next, we are going to blend this with our immersion blender. So I've got blender here. We're going to blend this for about 1 minute. Well, from these purple splatters everywhere, you can see the importance of starting slowly with the blender before really going in there at full power. So after about a minute of sheer high-speed blending, we're going to switch to hand stirring. So we're trying to avoid getting too many bubbles in here. Pop this in my dishes bin, give that a gentle stir, and we're going to continue to cool this in an ice bath. So this is something that you could do really with any lotion if you were feeling impatient. It's not something I do very often because I'm usually not in that much of a hurry. But I'm just gonna pop this in here and stir gently. So this water bath is a bowl that is sort of my perma water bath. If you've seen many of my videos, you probably recognize it. So I always keep about 1 inch of ice just living in the bottom of this in my freezer, and then whenever I need an ice bath, I can just pull it out of the freezer and add about 1 inch of water on top of it, and voila. So make sure as you're stirring, you're scraping around the sides of the beaker so that you're making sure that you're getting good contact with the outside of the beaker, which is of course in contact with the nice cold water. And then make sure you're doing the same with the bottom. So you can see that this is gaining some good viscosity here, continuing to be nice and gentle, but I'm going to set this aside while we weigh out our cool down phase. And we're done with the ice bath, so I'm going to go pour most of the liquid water off of this and then pop it back in the freezer to refreeze so it's ready when I need it next time. So our cool down phase is quite simple. In this little dish, I already have 0.2 grams of lavender essential oil, and then we're going to weigh our preservative in here as well. We need 0.5 gram of liquid Germall Plus. And if you'd like to scent your product differently, you absolutely can. I have linked to some resources on that in the partner blog post, which is linked in the description box below as always. So make sure you are checking that out. Now to combine, I'm going to pop a bit of the parent batch into the dish with the cool down phase, and we will stir to combine. Again, you want to be reasonably gentle so you're not working up a bunch of bubbles. And then we're going to transfer the portion of the shower cream with the cool down phase back into the parent batch and stir gently to combine. And with that done, our last step is packaging it up. So for packaging, I'm going to use this 120 milliliter squeeze tottle, which is a weird word. It's a combination of tube and bottle because it dispenses like a tube, but it fills more like a bottle with a wide orifice at the top. So you can fill this with a funnel if that's all you have. I'm actually going to use a syringe. It's just a little bit easier. So in order to fill the syringe, I just kind of pop it in something and then use something else to hold it up. This is just, you know, like a finished formulation. The tottle that I'm using, I purchased from Voyageur Soap and Candle. They have since discontinued it, unfortunately. But Humblebee has started selling something similar, and that's what you'll see in the pictures for like the thumbnail for this video and on the blog post. So yeah, if you like this sort of frosted soft squeeze tottle, check out the one that Humblebee is selling now. Pull that out, transfer that in. For a bit of a lather demo, we've got some warm water here and my trusty sort of demo loofah. I'm going to see how much of this I can salvage before, you know, pulling some out of the tottle as well. Try not to let any go to waste, but I think I did a pretty good job getting most of that into the container. Dispense some of this here. Bloop. That will thicken up a little bit over the coming days. So there you can see that we do get, like there are definitely bubbles, but yeah, it's not as crazy as the lather that you get from something that didn't have, you know, this much oil in it, but it does definitely lather up, you know, feel like and act like a body wash. It's got really nice, kind of pretty tiny bubbles, and it does feel quite rich, and I find that feels really quite gentle, you know, on rinse off, your skin isn't left feeling really, really tight or dry. But yeah, haha, bubbles. Yeah, so that's what it's like when you work it up on a loofah. And there you go. So we just made a rich lavender shower cleansing cream. So if you've been looking for a formulation that's a body wash with lots of oil in it, definitely give this one a go. So this is the one that we just made, and this is the one that I made for the blog post. This is that slightly different bottle from Humblebee. This was a gift. I thought I would do a little bit of a demo just to show you, you know, this one we just finished, and this one has sat for a couple days, so you can see the different kind of viscosities, like how much it thickens up when it's a couple days old. So kind of there's, you know, brand new, and here's after a couple days. So it does get, you know, get a bit thicker as we go. But yes, both of them work really, really beautifully on a loofah and are just absolutely lovely. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and please make sure you're reading the full partner blog post, which is linked in the description box below. There you'll find information on substitution, scaling, shelf life, links to places to buy all the ingredients, and a whole lot more. But yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.